welcome to easyhorsetraining.com. I'm Annabelle Cabela, and today we have something very special for any of you folks who may be experiencing specific problems in your horse training. Whether you're running into cribbing, bucking, jumping, doing anything that the horse shouldn't be doing, any bad or dangerous behavior, you'll be happy to know that by implementing some very specific techniques, you can solve virtually any problem that you may be having with your horse. You'll have to log into our members area to be able to see all the specific videos for specific problems, but keep in mind that if you follow these simple tips that I'm about to give you, you can solve any problem you may be having with your horse. Closeness, friendship, affection, all of these things are what you can have if you keep your own horse. In the words of Amber Senti, the horse, with beauty unsurpassed, strength immeasurable, and grace like any other, still remains humble enough to carry a human upon its back. That's some pretty powerful stuff. So, tip number 1. There are many big-time gurus and trainers who would have you believe that force and aggression are the only way to train a horse. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Here at easyhorsetraining.com, we know that the only atmosphere in which to bond with your horse is a gentle one that's full of trust and good intention. If you want to build a long-term relationship with your horse, you'll need to be able to follow our advice. It's very simple, so listen up. You'll need to stick to the basics. That is tip number 1. Give yourself and your partner, your horse, full opportunity to understand all of the communication. For example, if your horse isn't crossing water, ask yourself how you can help the horse to understand what you're trying to communicate better. If your horse is going to do groundwork all day and be in the round pen, is it stimulated or is it actually just going through the motions? Are you both being healthily stimulated? Is the horse given an interesting task? Make sure you keep your lessons light. Make sure the horse is not only interested, but also that for each individual horse, the lesson time goes through a specific plan. Always have good intentions surrounding the lesson and end on a positive note. Remember to never ever leave a lesson, never start a lesson, or finish a lesson in a bad mood. The horse should not have to remove that mood for you. Never forget that horses are built for relationship, and they'll communicate to you exactly what you need to build that relationship correctly with them. A horse may not be able to talk, but if you pay attention, they will speak to you. So, tip number 2, remember your horse psychology. If you're experiencing any sort of trouble with your horse on any level, it's time to remember to learn how to communicate with your horse. And remember, in any situation with any being, the most important step is listening. You have to remember to properly listen in order to properly communicate. So, if you're struggling with a bucking horse, ask yourself questions. Be a problem solver. Why is the horse bucking? Is the horse in pain? Is it trying to get away from you? Is it unconfident or fearful? Whatever the question may be, there is always an answer. Being able to pinpoint the problem will help you to solve it with your horse. Learn to be a problem solver. Work together with your horse. Remember, you're partners after all. Tip number 3 is to keep in mind that when it comes to training horses, you're not special. And I mean this in the best way possible. For example, if your horse is having an issue with cribbing, you know many other trainers have had issues with cribbing, kicking, biting, loading, rearing, all sorts of disobedience. How many problems have you heard where horses have these lifelong issues and change them around with the help of a proper trainer to being a really powerful relationship between the two horses? So many. So my point here is this. If others have done it, you can too. Horses will always react the exact same way to any stimulus that they are given. They've done it for thousands of years. It's how they survived. So have faith in your horse to be responding with whatever you feel is the most appropriate answer to the question, which means proper communication. So remember, the basics are always the same. Go back to tip number 1 whenever you're having issues with your horse. Keep the horse psychology, go back to the basics, and remember, you're not special. Many people have done it before you. So tip number 4, a great mentor, a great mentor and a good friend of mine, Mary 12 Ponies, wrote a book called There Are No Problem Horses, Only Problem Riders. I highly recommend this book for anyone who's experiencing any type of issues with their horses, especially those issues that may have been labeled unfixable in the horse world. This rings true on so many levels. As we know by now, if there was never a horse that couldn't be tamed, if only the communication was right between the horse and rider. Horses, like us humans, will tend to take on traits and problems based on issues or occurrences that happen in our life. Experiences shape us. But without exception, if there's a problem in your riding, you must look to yourself first. Now, I know this is probably a hard pill to swallow, but it's absolutely true. So put that ego aside and see if the problems don't find answers to themselves. When pride rideth in the saddle, destruction rideth alongside. So never ever sidestep your issues, just face them head on. There's a true solution to every problem, and it's up to us to find that solution and to use it wisely. So let's recap. Tip number 1, if you're having issues, go back to the basics. Tip number 2, always remember horse psychology. Tip number 3, when it comes to training horses, you're not special. Tip number 4, there are no problem horses, only problem people. So I know that we've had a ton of responses from folks just like you who want to know how they can solve specific behavioral problems they're experiencing in their training. I encourage you to do the same. Write us, send us an email, give us a call. Let us know what training issues you may be facing that we can help you with. We'd love to create a video surrounding your issue. Ask and you shall receive. In addition to the fundamentals course, which is 12 lessons on all the basics and cover in detail the 4 tips that we've just gone over, we have a ton of stuff in our members area. All sorts of videos and interviews covering everything from how to load your horse properly in a trailer to what to do if your horse won't cross water. But you'll have to log into the members area to check them out. So again, I'm Annabelle Cabela. Welcome to EasyHorseTraining.com and adios. Have happy trails.